There, folks. Today we're going to be discussing turrets. There are two types of turrets in the game, Plant Species X and the Auto Turret. First kind of turret we're going to be discussing is this fellow right here, the Plant Species X. You get the seeds for these from the swamp. You'll see something that looks a bit like this over here in the swamp. And you can use your sickle or you can use a gathering creature to get them. Either one works fine. You need fertilizer and you need water for Plant Species X. Now, something a lot of people don't realize is you don't need to irrigate these. The rain usually will cover the water for you quite easily. These plant plots hold water even if there's no rain around. You can see I have these set to be watered, and these are not. These are getting water just fine. Once they're grown, they don't need all that much water. To plant one of these, all you do is take one of your Plant Species X seeds, place it in, and put in your fertilizer. I suggest you make fertilizer and you fill this entire thing with fertilizer right off the bat if you can. You want to be over 200,000 fertilizer at all times. You can see I did these just for practice, just to show you. Usually I'll fill these entirely with fertilizer first. Once they are grown up, like the one in the corner, I will cover them with a foundation like this. What this foundation does is make it so I cannot refill these with fertilizer. However, they can get watered, and a person coming to attack needs to destroy this foundation before they can destroy this turret. Turret, as long as you can see these pink flowers, will still shoot. Now, this creates a weakness in this turret because I can sneak up. I can sneak up on the turret like this. These turrets can only shoot where they can see. So, for instance, in this corner, there's only one turret they can see. I could sneak up to this turret and I could break this wall with grenades and sneak away. So how do we compensate for that? That's pretty simple. First of all, we place multiple turrets so they're firing in groups like we have over here. So even though you're sneaking up on me on this turret, that turret way on the corner there is still firing at this angle, so I'm still being hit. Now, Plant Species X has a low base damage of 26. It has a higher base damage against creatures, but against players it's a 26 base damage. It does better versus dinosaurs with a 2.2 times multiplier. However, versus players it's only 26, and with armor that really just tickles. So you need to place a lot of turrets to hit. So on each side, I would suggest you have turrets per side. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to have 8, 9, 10. We'll have another 1, 2, 3, 4 from the roof. So I need more on this side. That's only 14. The other thing you need to make sure of is that you have different angles on your turrets. If I only have the turrets on the top of my building, then the side of my building is attackable. If I only have turrets on the bottom of my building, the top of my building is attackable. So make sure you place your turrets at all angles. That is extremely important. Now, these turrets also have a slowing ability. They have a slowing poison, and they knock creatures back. So you can use these in conjunction with the other turret in the game, these auto turrets, to do quite a lot more damage. Auto turrets have a whopping 70 damage per shot. They hit very, very hard. And with someone slowed with these, they can kill them quite easily. You've got 26 per shot with these. As I said, you want 10 or 20 of those hitting. That's, 400 damage from those. And then, as I have these set to players or tame creatures, player might not be getting hit. They might be flying on their Quetzal or something. I set these to hit players. I set the big turret to hit players. So their animal's getting slowed and they're getting shot in the head by the big turret, and usually that will kill the big player. And I would suggest with these turrets you place multiples. Right now I only have one of these on the roof, but I would suggest you place multiples on the roof. So let's talk a little bit more about the angles. Here we have a paddock. These large doors, right? It's not a very good paddock. It's actually going to be replaced fairly soon. It's what we had to start. But let's talk about it right now. Got coverage from these Plant Species X. That auto turret's not really covering. So how would we cover this particular area? Well, we'd have to place Plant Species X on the top of these gates. want to place a fairly decent amount of plant species X, you can place them in the corners. I'm not sure you can place them in the center. I think you can. I'd have some auto turrets interior to this. I used to have one, as a matter of fact, actually sticking in a little machine gun pit from inside the base, firing outwards. But the problem is, once you're placing interior here, we had another turret right there. Once you're placing interior to the base like this, your turrets will not shoot friendlies. So all of these dinosaurs are blocking your shots. So people can simply fly in and hide behind your own Brontosaurus. You need to find other ways to stop that sort of thing. One way is by simply covering the entirety of your paddock, and then covering the paddock with plant species X, which is what we plan on doing. So let's talk a little bit more about these auto turrets. As I said, the auto turret does 70 points of damage. It needs power to fire, and it needs ammunition. The plant species X ammunition is basically the fertilizer. It's in the water. So, this got a lot of shots in it. 251,000 fertilizer is going to be about 3 weeks full of shooting. I can fill this with about 1,000 shots, and that's going to last one good long attack. Obviously, this isn't powered out here. I just want to show placement. This placed here can fire the entirety of the area around it and up. It has a clear field of view. I would still suggest placing these in hidden points so that people coming in get bushwhacked. When I place these inside a base, I'll place multiples, and I will place them far away from each other. Unlike the plant species X, where you're forced to group your turrets close to each other, these do enough damage themselves to be placed a little bit further away, so you can do covering fields of fire. A grenade or rocket's going to hit, I believe, 2 squares out from the point. So if you place your turret 3 to 4 squares out like this, it's going to take multiple rockets to kill both of these turrets. And they're covering each other's field of fire right now. So unless somebody comes in and breaks them both, they're going to be shot. Obviously, I wouldn't place them out here in the open like this. I would place them somewhere like inside of a base. I would place multiples. I like 3 or more auto turrets. If you place them in a triangle like this, someone will be shot. They'll be shot from the 2 in the front. If someone comes from the front, they're going to be shot from the 2 in the front, and as they come in closer to attack, they're going to be shot from the 3rd one. There are very few people who can take that many shots from an auto turret. So you're going to be in pretty good shape if you place 3 like that. I have placed as many as 6 in a base, and I placed them again. I don't place them flat like this. I cover the angles. Right? If I place them flat on a base like this, I place them on the bottom. Someone can use my door right here to get into me. Someone can use the roof to get in. You need to cover all angles. I actually like to defend the interior of the base. I'm not going to show you the interior of this base because people on my server might see it. I like to cover the interior of my base with these. I like to cover it fairly heavily and from multiple angles. Another thing you can do is you can plant your plant species X, and when it's at this point here, it's just a little lump in the ground, cover it with a foundation, and then you can cover it again with another plant plot. That gives you double the attack power, almost as much attack power as a regular auto turret. You've got about 50 attack power coming from this one spot now, simply by doubling down on the turrets in that one place. Anyway, I hope this information has been useful to you, and I hope you kill a lot of noobs.